We're here with Nolan from Kryptos. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's just caught up with work and stuff. But yeah, I've been indoors mostly all this time, so nothing much, nothing new actually.
So you're releasing a new album tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow album releases worldwide through AFM Records, and yeah, pretty excited. But it kind of sucks that we can't actually get out and play gigs right now. Support the album, but yeah, it is what it is. So we're just kind of happy that it's getting out.
Well, I suppose it's probably gonna be at least 1 year until you can actually tour for it.
Yeah, we were supposed to tour in November. We had a tour scheduled and stuff, but because of the pandemic, we had to postpone everything to 2022. So,
yeah, that can happen. So were there this summer any gigs over there, or was it all under lockdown?
No, it was completely under lockdown. There hasn't been a single gig this year so far. So everything's just stuck in limbo.
Yeah, I know the situation over there is pretty dire.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, a few months ago during the second wave, it was really bad in India. Lots of people dying and people losing family members and stuff. And our healthcare isn't the best over here. So all the hospitals and everything they were completely packed. Yeah.
I know the population density in India is pretty huge, so it's obviously gonna be a bigger problem than Romania, where I'm from.
Yeah, we have too many people over here, so you can imagine every single hospital was like filled to the brim.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. And the album, that I suppose has been ready for a long while.
Yeah, we actually we wrote and recorded the album, during January, February, March of this year. That was actually, the time when the lockdown restrictions were lifted a bit. So, we thought, okay, let's quickly get this done because we had some material, we had some demos ready and stuff like that. So we thought this is a good time to put it together, quickly get the album recorded because we had booked like a month in the studio and everything for this. And we managed to even shoot a video during that time. And luckily we managed to finish all of it just before the next lockdown started.
Okay, so yeah, you were in luck. You managed to get all the full-length material all done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't actually heard the album yet, so I have to wait until tomorrow, like everyone else, to hear it. But I did listen a bit to the singles that you put out. So yeah, I reckon it's everybody who liked Afterburner's gonna like this one as well.
Yep, that's the idea. I mean, it's pretty much just a continuation of Afterburner. Just became what we love. And I think the new material. I think people might find the production a bit more harsh compared to Afterburner, but more in the same veins musically. But production-wise, we kind of went back to that old NW BHM sound. Bands like Jaguar, and Angel Witch, and Blitzkrieg, and all these guys had. So it's kind of like that kind of production for a modern age, you could say.
Yeah, Afterburner sounded a lot like a Judas Priest record in comparison.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's at least. Do you think there's anything else that we can find as a difference between the new record and Afterburner?
I would say, there are a few things, the solos, for example, they're more elaborate in Force of Danger compared to Afterburner. In Afterburner, the solos were kind of very short and sweet for the most part. But in Force of Danger, we have some really long solo sections and kind of like what Judas Priest did with Painkiller. They had these really long solos. They would even end songs with solos and stuff like that. So we kind of incorporated some of that in Force of Danger. And also some of the subject matter on Force of Danger, if you read the lyrics and stuff, I mean, we have the typical, metal lyrics and stuff like that, but there's also some...
You have to have those.
Yeah,
at least one song that is meta-referential to being metal.
Yeah, otherwise we won't exist as a band. But we have a couple of songs which are more sci-fi in nature. There's like a song like Omega Point. It's kind of like based on the movie Event Horizon and Dune and all those sci-fi movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like a bit of an epic. It's the longest track on the album. It's about 6.5 minutes or so. And we were kind of inspired also by Iron Maiden's "To Tame a Land" from Peace of Mind.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the standout tracks for me actually, because we hadn't done like a long epic kind of song in quite a while.
Yeah,
So
it was about time for something like that.
Yeah, so I was really excited for us to do that. And also, we did a song called Thunder Child, which is kind of it's inspired by Mad Max, the movies and stuff. And if you read the lyrics, the imagery and stuff, it's very Mad Max, dystopian, all that stuff. And I think people who love Mad Max will really enjoy that song as well. It's a really heavy song. I think it's one of the heavier songs we've done in the last few years, because it's got like constant double bass and lots of pounding, slamming at the end and shedding solos and stuff. So yeah, that was really fun to make.
Okay, so it's gonna be a face melter.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I got to know about Kryptos through Afterburner. So that was my entry point in the band. And for a while, I listened to the album, but I had absolutely no idea that you were a band from India. So compared to what my idea of what an Indian band would be like, so it's like there is almost no reference when listening to it that could tell, oh yeah, these guys are compared. I found a lot more bands that are from Europe that have more Indian themed lyrics, like Cult of Fire or something like that.
Yeah, Cult of Fire actually played in our city, I think 2 years ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine, actually, he's not really a friend, a close friend, but I know him. He kind of writes the lyrics for Cult of Fire. So
yeah, well,
yeah.
they needed someone to actually proofread that the script that they're using, it's actually correct and stuff like that. I assume.
Yeah, I think he did all that stuff for them. So.
And I suppose because I look at India from like an outsider's perspective, I don't really know that much about the culture. I suppose that's not the only script that is part of it. I suppose that there are like 10 different languages in India, and each have their own script, right?
Yeah, there are so many, hundreds and thousands of languages and dialects, and it's crazy, But because there are so many languages, all of us just speak English over here, so we can understand each other. Because if we had to speak our own languages, no one would understand anyone.
So it's not like Hindi is the lingua franca of India.
It's up north. I'm from the south. We are from the south.
Yeah, you're from Bangalore, right?
Yeah, from Bangalore. So we are like down south. But up north, in North India, most people speak Hindi. But down south, most people don't like speaking Hindi. We try not to speak Hindi because we have our own languages over here. Yeah.
It's quite a north-south divide, right?
Yeah, it is quite a bit. The north and south don't really like each other too much.
Yeah, I can understand that. So what languages do you speak other than English?
I mean, I like my mother tongue, my native language is a language called Konkani. It's from because I'm actually from the coastal region of India, from the south coast. So we
like
have
the coast of that's close to Myanmar or to Pakistan.
No, on the other side. It's actually the Pakistan is near the top, near the north, but we are closer to Sri Lanka at the bottom.
So
yeah. So in fact, the place I come from, we have like tons of different languages just in that one stretch, because it was actually previously a Portuguese colony. The Portuguese had taken over. I mean, before India got independence, the side that I'm from was a Portuguese colony. So there's a lot of similarity between Portuguese and the language we speak over there. And even some of the customs and everything is very similar. So that's my native tongue. But the other guys in the band, they have different, like our bass player, he's from even further down south, which is much closer to Sri Lanka, actually. So he speaks Tamil and also the language of the state we are in right now, which is Karnataka. So that language is Kannada. So, we all have completely different dialects. But yeah, we just speak English to each other. It's the easiest.
Well, that explains why all your songs are in English and none of them is in Indian language.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, English is the best way to get. I mean, to we all think in English. We've studied in English.
Mm,
We watch English movies. We read English books. Everything's in English, so it's just natural for us.
yeah, well, it's understandable. Everybody knows English.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, makes things easier.
And you were now quite the Indian band now. I suppose that you've already had some interviews today.
Not today, but I had one yesterday. I have about 3 or 4 coming up next week. I had a
Mm,
lot before this, previous week also actually. Some with rock art from Germany and Sweden rock and all these
mm.
publications. So
And how many of those questions were about you guys being from India?
I mean that I can't escape those questions. It's like everyone has to ask those questions.
Obviously, everyone has us because it's not
Yeah,
every day you get to. It's quite strange because it's a continent of so many people, and not a lot of metal bands do make it big over here. I mean,
yeah. Actually, there are a lot of bands in India, like tons of bands, but
mhm,
only I think maybe 6 or 7 of them have actually toured abroad or have
mm,
released albums abroad and stuff like that. But
mm,
it's very the number of bands that are in India are quite a bit. But the thing is they don't stick around for a long time. They
mm.
form, they last maybe 3 4 years, and then they break up or something.
Yeah,
So it's
so that happened too.
yeah, it's
Mm.
very tough. I mean, life is not really easy in India, and especially if you want to start a band over here, it's quite difficult.
I suppose is the culture there a bit more conservative, so you may have a bit of backlash against being a metalhead.
Nah, not really. The thing is, metal in India is it's really tiny. I mean,
Mm,
we are a country of 1.3 billion people, and the regional music, local music like Hindi music or Bollywood and all that stuff.
mm,
That's most people in the country listen to that stuff.
mm,
The number of people who listen to metal in India is really small, and it's not enough for anybody to take notice of. It's because
yeah.
it's so small and so spread out over such a big country. Nobody really takes notice. So even when we have gigs in each city or something, you have only maybe like a couple of hundred people showing up at the gigs, which
Mm.
is pretty much the same as you'd get in any restaurant in India. So it's not really a big deal.
Well, I mean, the city where I live, there are mostly 100 people at the gigs anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So we
It's
got
not
that
a
in
big
common.
deal.
So do you have any Indian bands to recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a band from a state called Kerala that's further down south from here. They're called Amorphia. So
Mm-hmm.
they play really good thrash metal. They sound almost exactly like Sodom, actually. If you
Mm-hmm.
if you get bored with Sodom's new albums, you can listen to these guys and you'll be like, "Whoa, cool! This sounds like old Sodom." So
I already got bored with the old new Saddam anyway, so.
yeah, I wasn't a big fan either. But you should check these guys out.
Mm.
They straight out of the old Sodom, uh, tapping the vein type stuff. So it's really good. Then there's a band from around the same place where we are, about 5 hours away. They're called Against Evil.
Mm-hmm.
They play very traditional heavy metal, kind of like uh, Accept, Judas Priest, Manowar type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They've also actually toured Europe a few times, I think a couple of times, and I think they released their album this year as well. So they're
Mm-hmm.
also pretty good band. Check them out.
Okay.
And if
Yeah.
if anybody likes death metal, there's a really good band called from our city actually called Moral Putrefaction. So
Mm-hmm.
they are very good death metal band, but I'm
Moral
not.
Putrefaction.
Yeah, Moral Putrefaction.
Because I heard the similarly titled album from India, Moral Collapse.
Yeah, Moral Collapse. That's a friend of mine. It's more
Mm.
technical death metal type
Oh yeah,
stuff.
I like that album a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So the guy who formed that band, he's a very good friend of ours. So
Mm.
Arun,
Okay.
he's also really good musician. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay. So you were also in a few other bands other than other than Kryptos, you are in Witch Goat, right?
Yeah, that was just a fun side project that we did. We were just playing like Venom and Battery and covers like that just for fun. And we had some we were actually kind of trying to record a demo, but we were drinking too much and all, and we were just like, what, fuck it, let's not do it.
Okay, so there is actually no recorded material from Witch Goat.
No recorded material, but you might find some interesting interviews online because we always made sure that all the interviews we did, we were like piss drunk. So the stuff we said is like really funny.
And you try not to do that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do it for Kryptos because it's a bit easy.
So there will be no Witch Goat material in the future anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
And you also had a small project called Eons of Sorrow.
Oh yeah, that was something I just did in my spare time. That was many years ago. I was kind of getting into a lot of doom and a little bit of black metal and all that stuff. So I thought, okay, let me just try recording something, see how it goes. So it was just an instrumental thing. I programmed the drums and did the guitars and whatever. And I think I recorded like 4 or 5 songs for that. And a friend of mine locally, he knew a guy in Sweden who wanted to release it on tape. So they managed to do that. I don't know what happened after that. I never got a tape.
So you don't have the tape?
Yeah. No, I don't have anything. So somebody out there has my songs.
Well, you should try searching for one on Discogs or something.
Yeah, I actually found some of them online, but I couldn't find the tape. But I think somebody messaged me a long time ago saying he found it somewhere in Singapore or something. So I was like, okay, cool.
Well, maybe you should talk with someone to re-release it.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Become a millionaire.
So you don't have plans for any other side projects in the future? So now you've done Venom, now you've done Doom Black Metal. So what's next?
Nothing much. I don't have time actually nowadays, because work, I mean, I work a lot, and on top of that, I have all sorts of other shit to take care of, with my family and stuff. So I really don't have the time to do all that stuff. Back then it was fun. We had less responsibilities, but now there's way too much.
Yeah, having responsibility is not very fun.
Yeah, it sucks, seriously.
Okay. And now I see that Kryptos is actually a pretty old band, like from 1998.
Yep. Pretty old.
What was it like getting a band started in those days?
Back then in India, things were really strange because there was no internet. There was no, I mean, we barely had, we didn't have anything over here. We didn't have, I mean, the stuff that came on TV was just the news and some random shit. And, we didn't have anything else to do except maybe go to a bar and drink or watch a movie. That was the only entertainment we had over here. There was no mobile phones, no internet, no nothing. So it was, we used to get tapes of bands in some of the local music shops over here. But it was mostly all the popular bands like Metallica and Iron Maiden and stuff like that. But there was a guy who used to smuggle tapes in from Russia. He started actually getting in a lot of bands that many people had never heard about, a lot of thrash, a lot of death metal, a lot of doom, all that stuff. And we started getting exposed to a lot of different music. And, when we started listening, and there were a few local bands as well. There was a band called Millennium from our city that played a lot of thrash covers and, by Slayer and Testament and stuff like that. And we used to go and watch their gigs, and we used to be like, oh, cool, man, these guys are damn cool. And then we started getting all these tapes in, and we were like, before that, we were just listening to the regular stuff, Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, all that stuff. But then we started getting more music from different bands from all over the world. And then we are like, cool, let's start a band of our own. Let's see what happens. So, initially the band was started by me and the bass player Ganesh. We were kind of classmates in university, and we had nothing to do except let's just form a band and jam. And we found a drummer somewhere, and we just started playing Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin covers and stuff like that. But eventually we figured, okay, we're not too bad at this. Let's write our own songs. And so when we actually decided to record an album, and we released our first album in 2004 over here. So yeah, and it did just kicked on from there. We never actually thought it would get this far. So
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy.
When you were talking about all these bands who are like releasing one album and then splitting up, and now here you are
Exactly.
20 years later, signed
Yeah,
to a big label, having performed overseas. I think you
I mean,
performed in Romania too, right?
No, I think we were supposed to perform in Romania in 2012 or 13. I can't remember, but the gig got cancelled. I'm not sure, but we've never played there since then, unfortunately. But I would love to come and visit one day.
Yeah, one day when all of this shit is over.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd definitely love to come there.
Okay, so what made you pick up an instrument?
That's a good question. Actually, it's strange because I never actually wanted to pick up an instrument. When I was growing up, my mom, she insisted that me and my sister learn a musical instrument, and I was just interested in football. I didn't give a shit about anything else. And she was like, "No, you have to learn something." So she made me learn the piano. I hated the piano because it was so boring. And then she was like, "Okay, either learn the guitar or learn the drums." So I thought, okay, fine, I'll learn the guitar because it seems like less work. So I picked
It wasn't less work.
up the guitar. Yeah, it wasn't, but I picked up the guitar and I figured out that it's actually kind of fun. And then I saw a video of Guns N' Roses and I saw Slash playing the guitar. I was like, whoa, cool! I want to be that guy.
Yeah, like there aren't really a lot of cool videos of guys playing pianos.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I saw Slash with his hat and smoking a cigarette and playing a solo, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to be that guy."
Yeah, pretty much. And you know the story about the tapes and bringing stuff from Russia. It reminds me a lot of my father, who was it was the communist bloc in Romania in the 70s when he was growing up, and they had to smuggle tapes from Yugoslavia because Yugoslavia wasn't under the Soviet influence as much. So
Right.
whenever somebody was going to smuggle stuff over, my dad would say, "Can you bring me some Deep Purple tapes or something?" And sometimes it was Deep Purple, sometimes it was Madonna or ABBA or something.
It's all good music at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, yeah. So some of it was alright, some of it was not. Yeah, but he eventually discovered stuff like Tangerine Dream and stuff.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a great band, Tangerine Dream.
Mm. Okay. So now we're going to take another detour to the fact that you're an Indian band. I have actually never watched any movies from India, mostly because when I think of India, I think of Bollywood, and that's not exactly something
Yeah,
that's
don't watch
quite
that.
that has a very good reputation among cinephiles. But then I also heard about, for example, Satyajit Ray. I think I mentioned that right.
Yeah,
Who seems to be a very esteemed director and apparently Taxi Driver from Scorsese was inspired by one of his movies. So, can you recommend Indian movie for us to watch?
Oh man, to be very honest, I don't really watch many Indian movies.
I can expect that. Until recently, I haven't watched too many Romanian movies either.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I, I I can't remember. I can't really off the top of my mind. I can't even think of any good ones to recommend to you. If you like something just a bit random, I just watched a movie recently called The Lunchbox. So maybe you like that. It's pretty decent. And there are pretty few decent horror movies, but I can't really remember them right now because they all have these Indianish names which aren't really in my language, and they keep slipping my mind. So yeah, I mean, I could text them to you later if I find out, but at the moment I can't really think of anything.
Okay. Then we'll just go with that one taxi driver movie from Satyajit Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. But okay, so other than Indian movies, if you could have any living director direct a music video for Kryptos, who would it be?
Oh man, I'm a music director to director. I don't know. I would. I don't even know that many directors actually. Maybe somebody like Martin Scorsese would be cool. If he could do something like he did in the Goodfellas or something like that, that would be cool. A total mafia type thing.
Yeah,
you
well,
know,
you have to write some songs about the mafia.
yeah. But that'd be fun actually. All of us dressed in suits and stuff.
Okay, yeah, that would be a good idea. So if I ever get in contact with him, I'll tell him.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so do you have anything else to tell to our readers?
Nothing much. Just pick up the album if you love 80s heavy metal, if you love classic metal, if you love all the nostalgia that the 1980s brought to you. You'll definitely enjoy our album. If you like any other kind of music, you probably won't enjoy our album. So, but yeah, if you love bands like Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Accept, Thin Lizzy, Scorpions, all this kind of stuff, you will definitely find something to enjoy with the album. And hopefully, we'll see you all on tour next year. And thank you all for your support. And it's always a pleasure to hear from people from all over the world, and especially from people from Europe. And we've had some people from Romania also write into us saying how much they enjoyed our music as well. So thank you all very
That's good to hear.
much. Yeah, really nice.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Radu. It was great.